everybody, and welcome to Nerdz Garage New Game Mondays.
Well, new games to us.
True, new games to us, not necessarily to you. Things we find interesting.
I'm Suzanne, and I'm in charge of acquisitions now.
What are acquisitions?
I can't stop buying games. I can't.
It's true, she can't.
Hence, New Game Mondays.
And I'm Derek, and I take care of lights and sound and comic books and dustbins and...
Everything.
All right.
Well, this game is actually new.
It's a new Kickstarter that we got about a month ago in the mail, and we've played a handful, good 5-6 times.
On the Underground, London, Berlin, and it is by LudiCreations. And I think it was on Board Game Spotlight when I posted that we backed it, and they asked us, well, you backed that pretty fast. Why'd you do it? And honestly, the artwork.
The artwork was stunning.
Artwork matters to us, apparently.
Yeah, artwork is a criteria in many of the games we buy, especially games that we've bought unplayed or unseen. We'll see something that's just stunning, and we'll go, hey, that looks like it might be a fun game. So there we go. We've bought another game.
And as for Kickstarters, this was by far the easiest Kickstarter. From backing to adding to it to receiving was swift and smooth. I mean, we've waited years.
Oh yeah, they came through right away with it, and before we knew it, we had it. We didn't even expect it, and it was really nice to see. And one of the other things that attracted us to this was the London Berlin aspect, just because those are two wonderful cities that we know, and so we went, well, that might be a really fun. The concept spoke to us, and we grabbed it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the game. We've played it half a dozen times now.
Yes, the gameplay, in a nutshell, we found the gameplay to be easy to get into. There's no rule paralysis. The rule book is clear, it's concise, and easy to teach. We had a couple of 2-player games, brought in a third player, and taught him right into the game with no hesitation. There was no hiccups. Recently, we've had many games with heavy rule paralysis, just for different reasons.
I've had to leave the room.
I've had to leave the room. I've had to leave the rule book behind because rule books.
All right, on the Underground, essentially, you're building a network between the subway systems.
Yes, you're building routes. You're building subway lines from point to point. And one of the catches is there's several different types of stations that you can connect to. And the catch being there's some preset points or points that get set each round that are destination tokens that your second half of there's two major halves of the game turn. And one is putting down your tracks, and the other is moving your passenger. So in the passenger section of the turn, you have to make it to one of those destinations.
And you accrue points communally. If you take the other player's route, they get the points. So you have to strategize to put your routes where it's going to make you more points than the other player. And there's 2 boards. There's the London side and the Berlin side. The London side, the rulebooks call it as a starter, which is true. Yeah. It was very straightforward. Build the routes, accrue the points, and done. The Berlin side had the extra rules, which we really liked a lot better.
Yeah.
Where you had, as you went through your routes, you accrued little tokens that give you more victory points.
Right, and along with the whole points concept, because it is whoever finishes with the most points wins. In those turns where you're taking your passenger to the destinations, you want to be traveling on your own routes because you'll get the points. Who wants to give points to your opponent?
But it's tricky, and this has happened to me a dozen times because you have to take the shortest route.
Yes, you can't just take the route you
shortest
choose.
Distance.
There are criteria on how you get there. So your passenger has to take certain criteria to your movement
Oh, I'd get so mad. I'd be like, "Is this the shortest route?" No, no.
I will admit that I think I had an earlier grasp of that rule in our playing time.
He grasped all the rules earlier than me.
But then what happens is once Suzanne figures out those little details and those intricacies, she really kicks my butt.
I do.
She wins the points
it'll
game.
take me 2 or 3 plays of a game until I can, Rubik cube it in my head and get it right.
But as far as a playability of a game, this game is a winner for that. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's about an hour long, so for that genre, it is very intriguing. And I wanted the diverse meeples.
Right, the meeples are cool.
And we will show pictures right after we're talking about this. It's not just the same meeple. For everybody, you get to choose what kind of person you want to be to play. I thought that was interesting. The artwork we loved. The artwork. And it went all the way through.
Well, what was
the artwork
to me the map is artful. It's a subway map. It's an underground map, but it is artfully done, and which led into the gameplay where this game doesn't have a lot of story to it. You're looking at the map of the subways of Berlin or London, and you're seeing names, Waterloo or Trafalgar or Westminster, and they're things that are familiar to us if we've been there. And in Berlin, the same thing, places that we could connect to. So in gameplay, we would have conversations about those places. And our third player, the nerd in charge at Nerdz Garage, he came into play, and he's never been to either one.
And he kept going, I want to go there.
I want to go there.
I want to go there.
I want to go there. Oh, this is where in Jason Bourne they went to this. In this movie they went there. In this movie they did that. So it's the familiarity of the maps makes it a fun game. It makes that is the story in the game, is we created our own stories in gameplay, which is quite fun. We like role-playing games.
We do wish it had a little more story, though, a little more meat.
True.
But the pieces of the game, the artwork, that was all top-notch.
Yes.
And for a game an hour-long game, absolutely recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely recommended. And, I mean, in a nutshell, it's a really fun game.
It is. And it's one of those games that will go back to the table and go back to the table. And we're happy that we kickstarted it.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that there'll be more expansions to it.
Again, a very fun game. Definitely a good Kickstarter. And I'm just repeating myself.
And we're going to, next week, we have a game that is...
Oh, I love this one.
It's Above and Below. And that has beautiful artwork, a huge story, and it hooked us right away that we've already got the expansion that we're ready to jump into, and we're very excited to talk about it next week. And we do appreciate your emails and your comments, so please continue to do that. And thank you for watching. I'm Suzanne at Nerdz Garage.
I'm Derek at Nerdz Garage.
See you next Monday.
See you.